Hello there, and welcome to Midnight Science. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe you've had a long day, or maybe you just love the idea of drifting off while learning about one of nature's most beloved flowers. Either way, you're exactly where you need to be. Tonight, we're stepping into the quiet, fragrant world of roses. These flowers have captivated humans for thousands of years, but there's so much more to them than thorns and petals. From their ancient origins to their hidden chemical languages, from the ways they heal to the mysteries they still hold, roses are far more complex and wonderful than most of us ever imagine. So let yourself settle in, let your shoulders drop, your breathing slow, and your thoughts begin to wander like petals on a gentle breeze. We'll move softly through these facts, one by one, discovering the science, history, and quiet beauty of the rose. Some things may surprise you, others might simply float by, soothing and strange, like a scent carried on the wind. If this kind of peaceful exploration brings you calm, consider liking and subscribing. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, just breathe. Close your eyes if you'd like. And let's begin this slow, fragrant journey through the world of roses. Roses are older than humanity itself. Long before the first human walked the earth, roses were already blooming. Fossil evidence shows that roses have existed for at least 35 million years, possibly longer. Ancient rose fossils have been found in Colorado, Oregon, and parts of Europe, preserved in stone like botanical time capsules. These early roses didn't look quite like the ones we know today. They were simpler, wilder, with fewer petals and a hardier disposition. But the essence was there, the thorns, the hips, the delicate architecture of the flower. Over millions of years, roses survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, and the shifting of continents. They adapted, evolved, and spread across the northern hemisphere. By the time humans arrived, roses were already ancient. They had witnessed the rise and fall of countless species, the slow dance of evolution playing out in forests, meadows, and mountainsides. And when we finally noticed them, we fell in love. But the rose didn't need us. It had already been thriving quietly and beautifully for eons. There are over 30,000 varieties of roses today. Walk into any garden, and you might see a handful of rose types. But the true diversity of roses is staggering. Today, there are more than 30,000 registered cultivars, each with its own shape, color, fragrance, and personality. Some are the result of centuries of careful breeding. Others emerged from happy accidents, mutations, or the patient work of nature itself. There are climbing roses that scale walls and trellises, reaching toward the sun with tenacious grace. There are miniature roses, no bigger than a coin, perfect and complete. There are old garden roses with names like Damask, Gallica, and Bourbon, each carrying the genetic legacy of ancient lineages. And there are modern hybrids, bred for color, disease resistance, or the ability to bloom again and again throughout the season. Some roses are deep crimson, others soft pink, buttery yellow, or even striped and speckled. A few are nearly black, their petals so dark they seem to absorb light. Others are white as snow, glowing faintly in the moonlight. This incredible variety didn't happen by chance. It's the result of millions of years of evolution combined with thousands of years of human curiosity, care, and creativity. The rose is not one flower. It's a family, vast and varied, each member with its own quiet story. Roses communicate through scent. When you lean in to smell a rose, you're not just enjoying a pleasant fragrance, you're intercepting a chemical message. Roses produce volatile organic compounds, molecules that drift into the air and carry information. These scents serve many purposes, attracting pollinators, repelling pests, and even signaling other plants. The classic rose scent comes from a blend of over 400 different compounds. Some smell sweet, like honey or fruit. Others are spicy, earthy, or green. The balance of these chemicals determines whether a rose smells like tea, musk, citrus, or something entirely unique. No two roses smell exactly the same, even within the same variety, because scent is influenced by soil, weather, time of day, and the age of the bloom. Interestingly, many modern roses have been bred for appearance rather than fragrance. Breeders prioritized color, form, and longevity, sometimes at the expense of scent. But in recent years, there's been a movement to bring fragrance back, to restore what was lost, because a rose without scent is like a song without melody. Beautiful, yes, but missing something essential. The rose's perfume is not decoration, it's language, whispered into the air for anyone willing to listen. The oldest living rose bush is over 1,000 years old. In Hildesheim, Germany, growing against the wall of a cathedral, there's a rose bush that has been blooming for more than 1,000 years. It's a dog rose, Rosa canina, and according to local records, it was planted sometime around the year 815. That means this single plant has lived through the rise and fall of empires, through wars, plagues, and revolutions. It has outlived countless generations of humans who tended it, admired it, and returned to the earth beneath its roots. During World War II, the cathedral was heavily bombed. The building was reduced to rubble. But when the dust settled and the fires cooled, the rosebush was still there. Its roots had survived, buried deep beneath the stone. And the following spring, it bloomed again. Today, it towers over 30 feet tall, sprawling across the cathedral wall, a living monument to resilience. This rose has no name, no breeder, no carefully documented lineage. It's simply a survivor. And every year, when its flowers open, they carry the same genetic instructions that have been repeating for over a millennium. The same petals, the same fragrance, the same quiet insistence on life. In a world of constant change, the Hildesheim rose remains, a reminder that some things endure. Roses can have anywhere from 5 to 100 petals. If you've ever tried to count the petals on a rose, you know it's not a simple task. Wild roses, the ancestors of all modern varieties, typically have just 5 petals. It's a clean, efficient design, perfectly suited for attracting pollinators without wasting energy. But through mutation and selective breeding, roses have developed far more complex forms. Some modern roses have 20 petals, others 40, and a few boast 100 or more, layer upon layer spiraling inward toward the center. These densely packed blooms are often called double or fully double roses. They're lush, almost sculptural, resembling peonies or camellias more than their wild relatives. But all those extra petals come from a genetic quirk, a transformation of the flower's reproductive parts, stamens and pistils, into petal-like structures. This means that heavily petaled roses often produce little to no pollen or seeds. They're beautiful, but sterile, unable to reproduce on their own. They exist because humans decided they were worth preserving. propagating them through cuttings and grafts rather than seeds. In a way, these roses are living art, shaped by our desire for beauty, even at the cost of function. And yet, they bloom just as faithfully, unaware of what they've lost, offering their layered elegance to the world. Rose hips are packed with vitamin C. After a rose blooms and its petals fall away, something else begins to form. A small, round fruit called a rose hip. These hips ripen in late summer or autumn, turning bright red, orange, or even deep purple. They're often overlooked, but they hold a secret. Rose hips contain more vitamin C than almost any other fruit, sometimes up to 20 times more than an orange. During World War II, when citrus imports to Britain were cut off, the government organised volunteers to harvest wild rose hips from hedgerows and forests. These were processed into syrup and given to children to prevent scurvy and boost immunity. Rose hip syrup became a national resource, a quiet contribution from a humble fruit. Today, rose hips are still used in teas, jams, and supplements. They have a tart, slightly sweet flavour and are rich not just in vitamin C, but also in antioxidants, bioflavonoids, and other beneficial compounds. They've been used in traditional medicine for centuries, long before anyone understood vitamins or nutrients. The rose, it turns out, is generous. It offers beauty in its bloom and nourishment in its fruit. Nothing is wasted. Roses have been cultivated for at least 5,000 years. Roses are not just wildflowers that humans happened upon. They've been deliberately grown, tended, and treasured for millennia. Archaeological evidence suggests that roses were cultivated in ancient China as far back as 5,000 years ago. They appeared in the art, poetry, and gardens of Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece. Roses were woven into wreaths, pressed into perfumes, and planted in sacred groves. The ancient Romans adored roses. They grew them in vast quantities, using the petals for everything from banquet decorations to medicinal remedies. Wealthy Romans would carpet their floors with rose petals during feasts, and some even filled their fountains with rose water. The flower became a symbol of luxury, beauty, and fleeting pleasure. In Persia, roses were central to both garden design and poetry. Persian poets like Rumi and Hafiz wrote about roses as symbols of divine love and spiritual longing. The famous Persian gardens, with their geometric layouts and flowing water, were often filled with roses, their scent mingling with the sound of fountains. Roses were not just plants. They were woven into the fabric of culture, identity, and belief. And this relationship, spanning thousands of years, continues today. Some roses bloom only once a year. Not all roses are repeat bloomers. Some varieties, particularly old garden roses and wild species, flower just once each year, usually in late spring or early summer. For a few glorious weeks, they explode into bloom, covering bushes and arbors in a cascade of color and fragrance. And then, just as suddenly, they're done. The petals fall, the show is over, and the rose returns to being simply a green, thorny shrub. These once blooming roses are called non-remontant, and they follow an ancient rhythm. They put all their energy into a single, magnificent display, then spend the rest of the year building strength for the next. There's something poignant about this, a fleeting beauty, here and then gone, like a comet streaking across the sky. You can't take it for granted. You have to be present, to notice, to appreciate it while it lasts. Modern roses, by contrast, have been bred to bloom repeatedly throughout the growing season. They're reliable, generous, always offering something. But they lack the drama, the sense of occasion. The once blooming rose teaches a quiet lesson about impermanence. That beauty doesn't need to last forever to be meaningful. Sometimes the briefest moments are the ones we remember most. Roses can live for over 100 years. A rose bush is not a fleeting thing. With proper care, a rose can live for decades, even centuries. There are rose bushes in European gardens that were planted in the 1800s and are still producing flowers today. Some climbing roses have trunks as thick as small trees, gnarled and woody, bearing the scars of 100 winters. Roses are perennials, meaning they die back in winter but return each spring. Over time, they develop deep root systems that anchor them firmly in place, drawing water and nutrients from far below the surface. This makes them surprisingly resilient. They can survive drought, cold snaps, and neglect, bouncing back when conditions improve. Of course, not all roses live this long. Disease, pests, harsh weather, or simple abandonment can shorten a rose's life. But given half a chance, a rose will endure. It will push out new canes, new leaves, new blooms, year after year, season after season. In gardens where everything else changes, where trees fall and lawns are replanted, the rose remains. A constant, a companion, a living memory of the hands that first planted it. The color of a rose can change as it ages. A rose doesn't stay the same from bud to bloom to fade. Its color shifts, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, as the flower matures. A bud might open deep crimson, then soften to pink as the petals unfurl and age. A yellow rose might deepen to gold or fade to cream. White roses can blush with pink edges, especially in cool weather or bright sun. These changes are driven by chemistry. The pigments in rose petals, anthocyanins for reds and purples, carotenoids for yellows and oranges, are sensitive to temperature, light, and the flower's internal chemistry. As the rose ages, cell structures break down, pH levels shift, and pigments degrade or concentrate. The result is a living canvas, constantly in motion. Some gardeners love this quality. A single rose bush can seem to produce multiple colors depending on the stage of bloom. Others find it unpredictable, preferring roses that hold their color steadily. But there's something beautiful about the impermanence. A rose that changes reminds us that nothing stays the same. Every moment is unique. Every petal tells a different part of the story. And by the time the last petal falls, the rose has lived through a spectrum of shades, each one fleeting, each one true. Roses grow wild on every continent except Antarctica roses are not confined to gardens. In fact, most roses in the world are wild, growing without human intervention in forests, meadows, mountains, and riverbanks. Wild roses, often called species roses, can be found across the northern hemisphere. From the cold reaches of Alaska and Siberia to the warm hills of the Mediterranean and the deserts of the Middle East, there are wild roses in North America, Europe, Asia, and even parts of North Africa. They scramble over cliffs, form dense thickets along roadsides, and colonize disturbed land with pioneering vigor. These roses are simpler than their cultivated cousins, usually single-flowered with 5 petals, but they're incredibly hardy. They tolerate poor soil, extreme temperatures, and long droughts. Antarctica is the only continent without roses, too cold and barren even for these resilient plants. But everywhere else, Roses have found a foothold. They evolved to fit the niches available to them, developing traits suited to their environments. Some have enormous thorns for protection. Others have fragrant flowers to attract scarce pollinators. And in every place they grow, they become part of the landscape, woven into the ecology, feeding insects, birds, and mammals with their hips and pollen. A rose's thorns are technically prickles. We call them thorns, but technically, the sharp protrusions on a rose stem are prickles. The difference is more than semantic. Thorns are modified branches, deeply embedded in the plant's vascular system. Prickles, by contrast, are outgrowths of the outer layer of the stem, the epidermis. They're easier to break off, and if you snap one, the stem beneath remains intact. This distinction doesn't make them any less sharp, of course. Rose prickles serve a clear purpose: defense. They deter herbivores, animals that might otherwise munch on tender leaves and stems. They also help climbing roses anchor themselves as they scramble upward through other plants, hooking onto branches and bark. Interestingly, not all roses have prickles. Some cultivars have been bred to be nearly thornless, making them easier to handle and more appealing for gardens where children play. But many gardeners prefer roses with thorns or prickles, seeing them as part of the rose's character. The prickles remind us that beauty often comes with protection, that softness and sharpness can coexist, that even the most delicate flower knows how to defend itself. Roses can be trained to climb walls and trellises. Roses don't naturally climb in the way that vines do. They don't have tendrils or twining stems. But some rose varieties produce long, flexible canes that can be guided, tied, and trained to grow upward along supports. These are called climbing roses, though the name is a bit misleading. The rose doesn't climb, we help it climb. Gardeners tie the canes to trellises, arbors, fences, or walls, bending them horizontally or in gentle arcs. This encourages the rose to produce side shoots all along the cane, each one capable of flowering. The result is a vertical cascade of blooms, a living tapestry that can cover entire walls or archways. Some climbing roses reach 20 feet or more, transforming structures into fragrant, flowering sculptures. Training a rose takes patience. It's a collaboration between plant and gardener, a slow negotiation of growth and guidance. The rose wants to grow. The gardener suggests a direction. And over time, through careful bending, tying, and pruning, the two create something neither could achieve alone. A rose climbing toward the sky, blooming at eye level and overhead, filling the air with color and scent. It's not natural, but it's beautiful, and it's been done this way for centuries. The Damascus rose is one of the most fragrant. If you've ever smelled a truly exquisite rose, it might have been a damask. Rosa damascena, the damask rose, is legendary for its scent. Rich, sweet, complex, and deeply floral. It's the fragrance most people imagine when they think of roses. This rose has been cultivated for thousands of years, primarily in the Middle East and later in Bulgaria and Turkey, where it's grown for the perfume industry. Damask roses bloom in soft pinks and whites with a loose, romantic form and a relatively short flowering season. But what they lack in repeat blooming, they more than make up for in fragrance. The scent is so potent and so prized that damask roses are harvested at dawn, when the essential oils are most concentrated, and distilled into rose oil or rose water. It takes thousands of petals to produce even a small amount of pure rose oil, making it one of the most expensive natural fragrances in the world. Yet the scent is incomparable. It's warm and cool at once, sweet but not cloying, with layers that unfold the longer you inhale. Damask roses have been used in perfumes, cosmetics, and culinary traditions for millennia. And even today, in a world of synthetic scents, nothing quite captures the depth and beauty of a true damask rose. Roses have been used in medicine for centuries. Long before modern pharmaceuticals, people turned to roses for healing. Rose petals, hips, and even roots were used in traditional medicine across cultures. In ancient Greece and Rome, rose preparations were prescribed for headaches, digestive troubles, and skin ailments. In traditional Chinese medicine, roses were used to regulate qi, soothe the liver, and calm the spirit. Rose water, made by distilling rose petals, has been used for centuries as a gentle anti-inflammatory and astringent. It soothes irritated skin, reduces redness, and has mild antibacterial properties. Rose oil is still used in aromatherapy today, believed to ease anxiety, lift mood, and promote relaxation. Rose hips, as mentioned earlier, are rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. They've been used to treat colds, support the immune system, and even ease joint pain. Modern research has begun to validate some of these traditional uses, finding compounds in roses that have genuine therapeutic effects. But long before scientists could explain why, healers knew. The rose was not just beautiful. It was medicine, comfort, and care, offered freely by the garden. Some roses are edible, and used in cooking. Roses aren't just for looking at or smelling. They're also food. Rose petals are edible, and they've been used in cooking for thousands of years. In the Middle East, rose water is a common ingredient in sweets like baklava and Turkish delight. In India, rose petals are made into gulkand, a sweet preserve mixed with sugar and spices. In France, crystallized rose petals are used to decorate cakes and pastries. The flavor of rose petals is delicate, floral, and slightly sweet, with a hint of fragrance that can be either subtle or pronounced depending on the variety. Not all roses taste good. Some are bland or even bitter. But the most aromatic varieties, like damask or rugosa roses, tend to have the best flavor. When cooking with roses, it's important to use petals from roses that haven't been treated with pesticides or chemicals. Organic or homegrown roses are best. And typically, you remove the white base of each petal, which can taste bitter. What remains is pure floral essence, a taste that evokes garden sunshine and a kind of old-fashioned elegance. It's a reminder that roses give generously, not just beauty, not just scent, but flavor, nourishment, and delight. Roses symbolize different meanings based on their color. For centuries, roses have been used to convey messages, each color carrying its own meaning. Red roses, of course, are the symbol of romantic love and passion. They're given on anniversaries, Valentine's Day, and moments of deep emotion. But roses speak in many other colors too. White roses represent purity, innocence, and new beginnings. They're often used in weddings and baptisms. Pink roses convey gratitude, admiration, and gentle affection, softer than red, but no less sincere. Yellow roses symbolize friendship, joy, and warmth, though in some traditions, they were once associated with jealousy. Orange roses suggest enthusiasm and desire. Lavender or purple roses hint at enchantment and love at first sight. And black roses which are actually very deep red or purple, can symbolize mourning, farewell, or even rebirth and new chapters. The language of roses is old, nuanced, and still understood today. A single rose can say what words sometimes can't. The oldest known rose fossils are 35 million years old. Paleobotanists have found fossilized rose leaves and hips dating back 35 million years, preserved in ancient sediment in what is now Colorado and Montana. These fossils show that roses were already well established by the Oligocene epoch, a time when the earth was cooling after a warmer period and grasslands were beginning to spread. The fossilized roses look surprisingly similar to modern wild roses, with the same basic structure, leaves arranged in sets of 5 or 7 leaflets, thorny stems, and small fruits. This suggests that the rose's fundamental design hasn't changed much over tens of millions of years. It's a form that works, refined by evolution and tested by time. What's remarkable is that roses have outlasted so many other species. They survived the extinction of the dinosaurs, the rise and fall of countless other plants, and dramatic shifts in climate and geography. They adapted, diversified, and spread. And today, when you look at a rose, you're seeing a living link to an ancient past, a flower that has bloomed through epochs, watching the world transform around it. Rose petals release their scent strongest in the morning. If you want to experience a rose at its most fragrant, visit the garden early in the morning. Roses produce and release volatile compounds most actively during the cool hours just after dawn. As the sun rises and temperatures climb, the scent begins to dissipate. By midday, especially on hot days, much of the fragrance has evaporated into the air or been broken down by heat and sunlight. This is why rose growers and perfume makers harvest petals in the early morning, sometimes as early as 4 or 5 a.m. The petals are still cool, damp with dew, and their essential oils are at peak concentration. Timing matters. A rose picked at dawn smells different, stronger, more complex than one picked in the afternoon. There's something special about visiting a rose garden in the morning. The air is soft, the light is gentle, and the fragrance hangs like a veil over the plants. It's a quiet, almost meditative experience. The world is still waking up. The bees are just beginning their rounds, and the roses, fresh and dewy, offer their sweetest, most generous scent. A gift given freely to anyone willing to rise early enough to receive it. Roses can survive in extreme temperatures. Roses are often thought of as delicate, temperamental plants, but many varieties are remarkably tough. Some roses can survive winter temperatures well below freezing, enduring months buried under snow and ice. Hardy shrub roses, rugosas, and many species roses can tolerate temperatures as low as 40 degrees without protection. On the other end of the spectrum, roses also grow in hot, arid climates. In the deserts of the Middle East and the American Southwest, certain rose varieties thrive in scorching heat and minimal water. They've adapted to conserve moisture, develop deep root systems, and flower during brief periods of favorable conditions. This adaptability is part of what makes roses so successful. They're not locked into a single climate or condition. They bend, adjust, and persist. A rose in Alaska and a rose in Arizona may look different, bloom at different times, and face different challenges, but both carry the same essential nature: the ability to endure, to wait through hardship, and to bloom when the moment is right. Resilience is written into the rose's DNA, cultivated over millions of years. The rose is the national flower of several countries. The rose holds a special place in the hearts of nations around the world. It's the national flower of the United States, adopted officially in 1986 after years of debate. It's also the national flower of England, where it has been a symbol of royalty and national identity for centuries, most famously during the Wars of the Roses. In Iran, the rose is deeply woven into culture and poetry, representing beauty, love, and the divine. In Bulgaria, the rose, especially the damask variety grown in the Valley of Roses, is a source of national pride and economic importance. The country produces some of the finest rose oil in the world, and the annual Rose Festival is a major cultural event. These national associations reflect more than just appreciation for a pretty flower. They speak to the rose's symbolic weight, its ability to represent complex ideas like love, sacrifice, beauty, and heritage. The rose is personal, but is also universal. It belongs to individuals and to nations. It grows in private gardens and public squares, and wherever it blooms, it carries meaning. Roses have inspired countless works of art and literature, from ancient poetry to modern novels, from Renaissance paintings to contemporary photography. The rose has been a muse for artists and writers throughout history. Persian poets like Rumi and Hafiz used the rose as a metaphor for divine love and spiritual longing. Shakespeare mentioned roses in dozens of his plays and sonnets, often as symbols of beauty, youth, and fleeting time. Painters have been drawn to roses for centuries. The Dutch masters painted them in lush, still lifes, capturing every fold and shadow of the petals. Impressionists like Renoir filled their canvases with blooming roses, using soft brushstrokes to convey their ephemeral beauty. Photographers have made roses the subject of intimate studies, exploring their forms, textures, and the way light plays across their surfaces. The rose appears in fairy tales, myths, and legends. From Beauty and the Beast to The Little Prince, the rose is more than a flower. It's a character, a symbol, a vessel for meaning. It represents love, loss, danger, and hope. And this richness, this layering of associations, makes the rose endlessly fascinating. It's not just a plant. It's a story we keep telling over and over in countless ways. Some roses can grow in water without soil. Roses are typically grown in soil, rooted deep and drawing nutrients from the earth. But roses can also be propagated and even grown, at least temporarily, in water. Cuttings taken from a rose bush can be placed in a glass of water, and within a few weeks, they'll begin to sprout roots. This is called water propagation, and it's a simple way to clone a favorite rose. Some people even grow roses hydroponically, using nutrient-rich water solutions instead of soil. The plants receive everything they need, water, oxygen, and minerals, delivered directly to their roots. Hydroponic roses can grow quickly and produce abundant blooms, though they require careful monitoring and precise nutrient management. There's something almost magical about watching roots emerge from a stem submerged in water, thin white threads unfurling into the liquid, seeking nourishment, anchoring the plant in a new medium. It's a reminder that roses, for all their association with earth and gardens, are adaptable. They can find life in unexpected places, and sometimes all they need is a little water, a little light, and time. Rose thorns can carry bacteria that cause infection. Those prickles we talked about earlier, they're not just sharp, They can also carry bacteria. When a rose thorn pierces the skin, it can introduce microorganisms into the wound, sometimes leading to infection. One such infection, called sporotrichosis or rose gardener's disease, is caused by a fungus that lives in soil, plant matter, and especially on rose thorns. Sporotrichosis causes small bumps or sores that can spread along the lymphatic system if untreated. It's not common, but it's a real risk for gardeners who work with roses regularly without gloves. The condition is treatable with antifungal medication, but it's a reminder to handle roses with care. Most thorn pricks are harmless, of course. A quick wash and perhaps a bandage, and you're fine. But it's wise to clean any puncture wound promptly and watch for signs of infection. The rose, for all its beauty, is still a wild thing at heart. It has defenses, and while we've domesticated and cultivated it for thousands of years, it hasn't forgotten how to protect itself. Respect the thorns. They're there for a reason. Roses need at least 6 hours of sunlight to thrive. Roses are sun lovers. To bloom abundantly and stay healthy, most roses need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight each day. Some varieties can tolerate partial shade, producing fewer but still lovely flowers. But for the fullest, most vibrant blooms, roses want sun, warm, steady, and generous. Sunlight fuels photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert light into energy. More sun means more energy, and more energy means more blooms. Roses grown in too much shade often produce weak, spindly growth, fewer flowers, and are more susceptible to disease. The leaves may yellow, and the plant may struggle to survive. This need for light is why you'll often see rose gardens in open, sunny locations, hillsides, meadows, or carefully positioned beds in full exposure. The roses stretch upward and outward, orienting themselves toward the light, and when the sun shines down, the petals seem to glow from within, illuminated by the same energy that powers their growth. The rose and the sun are partners, bound together in a dance as old as flowering plants themselves. The scent of roses can reduce stress and anxiety. The fragrance of a rose does more than please the nose. It can also affect the brain. Studies have shown that inhaling rose scent can reduce levels of cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. It can slow heart rate, lower blood pressure, and promote feelings of calm and relaxation. This is why rose essential oil is commonly used in aromatherapy. A few drops in a diffuser or applied to the skin can create a soothing atmosphere, easing tension and encouraging rest. The scent is gentle, not overpowering, but its effects are measurable. People exposed to rose fragrance report feeling more relaxed, more centered, and less anxious. There's something ancient about this response. Perhaps it's because roses have been part of the human experience for so long, associated with beauty, care, and peaceful moments. Or perhaps it's simply the chemistry of the compounds themselves, interacting with receptors in the brain. Either way, the result is the same. The rose offers not just visual beauty, but a kind of olfactory comfort, a quiet, invisible embrace that says, "You're safe. You can rest now." Roses can be propagated from cuttings. You don't need seeds to grow a new rose. One of the most reliable ways to reproduce a rose is through cuttings. A healthy stem, about 6 to 8 inches long, is cut from a mature plant, usually in late spring or early summer. The lower leaves are removed, and the cut end is dipped in rooting hormone. though this isn't always necessary. The cutting is then planted in moist soil or placed in water, as mentioned earlier. Over the next few weeks, if conditions are right, roots will begin to form. The cutting becomes a new plant, genetically identical to its parent. This is how many rose varieties are propagated commercially and in home gardens. There's a kind of magic in it. From a single stem, a whole new rose. No pollination, no seeds, just the plant's innate ability to regenerate itself. It's a form of cloning, simple and elegant, practiced by gardeners for centuries, and it means that a beloved rose can be shared, passed from one garden to another, one generation to the next, a living gift that keeps on growing. Rose hips were once strung into jewelry. Long ago, before plastic beads and mass-produced jewelry, people used what nature provided. Rose hips, with their bright colors and firm texture, were sometimes dried and strung into necklaces, bracelets, or rosaries. The hips would be pierced while still fresh, threaded onto string, and left to dry and harden. The result was a simple, rustic form of adornment. The dried hips turned deep red or orange-brown, smooth and bead-like. They were lightweight and carried a faint, earthy scent. In some cultures, rose hip necklaces were given to children or worn as protective charms. In others, they were simply a practical use of available materials. Today, this practice is rare, mostly a curiosity of folk history. But it speaks to the relationship people once had with plants, a relationship of use, respect, and creativity. Nothing was wasted. Even the fruit of a rose, after it had fed the birds and enriched the soil, could be transformed into something personal and meaningful, a reminder that beauty and utility can coexist. Roses can be grafted onto other rose rootstocks. Many of the roses you see in gardens aren't growing on their own roots. They've been grafted, a technique where the top part of one rose, called the scion, is attached to the root system of another, called the rootstock. This is done to combine the best traits of two different plants. The rootstock is usually a hardy, disease-resistant variety with a strong root system. The scion is a desirable variety chosen for its flowers, fragrance, or form. By grafting the two together, growers create a plant that blooms beautifully, but has the toughness and vigor of a more rugged rose. Grafting requires skill. The cuts must be precise, the unions sealed carefully, and the plant monitored as it heals. But when done correctly, the graft forms a permanent bond. The rose grows as one plant, though it's technically two. You can sometimes see the graft union, a slight bulge or scar near the base of the plant, marking the place where two lives became one. It's a form of collaboration, orchestrated by human hands, that allows roses to thrive in places and conditions they otherwise couldn't. The rose has inspired perfumes for thousands of years. Rose-scented perfumes are among the oldest in the world. Ancient Egyptians used rose water and rose oil in their beauty rituals, anointing themselves before ceremonies and embedding rose scent into their daily lives. Cleopatra famously filled her chambers with rose petals to seduce Mark Antony, understanding the power of fragrance to captivate and enchant. In the Middle Ages, rose perfumes were prized across Europe and the Islamic world. Alchemists and perfumers distilled rose petals into precious oils, creating scents for royalty and the wealthy. Rose became synonymous with luxury, elegance, and refinement. Even today, rose remains one of the most popular notes in perfumery. It's used as a heart note, the central theme around which other scents are built. Modern perfumes blend rose with spices, woods, citrus, or musk, creating complex compositions. But at the core, the rose is still there, timeless and unmistakable. It's a scent that transcends fashion and trends. Thousands of years after the first rose perfume was made, we're still captivated by the same fragrance, still reaching for the same flower. Roses can purify the air around them. Like many plants, roses contribute to cleaner air. Through photosynthesis, they absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. But roses also release small amounts of phytoncides, natural compounds that have antimicrobial properties. These compounds can reduce airborne bacteria and improve air quality in subtle but meaningful ways. Having roses in or near your home won't replace an air purifier, but they do add a gentle, natural benefit. And of course, their fragrance can make indoor or outdoor spaces feel fresher and more inviting. The scent itself, as we've discussed, has calming effects, which can contribute to an overall sense of well-being. In larger settings, like rose gardens or parks, the collective effect of many plants can be more pronounced. The air feels different, softer, sweeter, almost tangibly cleaner. It's not just psychological. The roses are working quietly and continuously, filtering the air, releasing oxygen, and filling the space with life. They're not just decoration. They're active participants in the environment, making the world around them just a little bit better. Wild roses are often more fragrant than hybrids. Modern hybrid roses are stunning. They come in colors and forms that wild roses could never achieve. But in the pursuit of visual perfection, something was often sacrificed: fragrance. Many modern roses have little to no scent. They were bred for color, disease resistance, and the ability to hold their shape in bouquets. Scent became secondary. Wild roses, by contrast, tend to be highly fragrant. Their scent is one of their primary tools for attracting pollinators. Without it, they wouldn't reproduce as effectively. So evolution favored roses that smelled good, and wild species like Rosa rugosa, Rosa canina, and Rosa gallica are often intensely perfumed. In recent decades, breeders have begun to prioritize fragrance again, creating new varieties that combine the beauty of modern roses with the scent of old garden and wild roses. These new old roses are a bridge between past and present, honoring what was lost while embracing what's been gained. And for those who love roses, the return of fragrance is a gift, because a scentless rose, no matter how beautiful, is missing its soul. Some roses bloom in winter. In mild climates, certain rose varieties can bloom even in winter. Roses like the Christmas rose, despite its name, isn't actually a rose but a hellebore. But true roses such as some tea roses and repeat blooming climbers can produce flowers in winter months if temperatures stay above freezing. These winter blooms are often smaller, slower to open, and more delicate than their summer counterparts. But they're no less beautiful. In fact, there's something especially poignant about a rose blooming in winter. A defiant splash of color against grey skies and bare branches. It's a reminder that life persists even in the coldest, darkest seasons. For gardeners, a winter rose is a rare treasure. It brightens the short days, offers a touch of fragrance when the world feels dormant, and serves as a quiet promise that spring will come again. The rose, blooming out of season, becomes a symbol of hope, resilience, and the quiet stubbornness of life itself. Roses are one of the most popular flowers in the world. Walk into any florist and you'll see them. Open a seed catalogue and they're there. Search for flowers online and roses dominate the results. Roses are, without question, one of the most popular and widely recognized flowers on the planet. They're grown in nearly every country, given on countless occasions, and featured in gardens from Tokyo to Toronto. This popularity isn't just about beauty, though roses are undeniably beautiful. It's also about symbolism, history, and versatility. Roses speak a language everyone understands. They mark celebrations, express emotions, and commemorate moments. They're personal and universal at the same time. And despite their popularity, they never seem to lose their appeal. Trends come and go. Other flowers rise and fall in fashion, but the rose remains. Century after century, generation after generation, it holds its place in our hearts and gardens. Not because it's perfect, but because it's meaningful, because it connects us to something larger, to history, to each other, to the earth itself. Rose oil takes thousands of petals to produce pure rose essential oil, also called rose otto or attar of roses, is one of the most expensive natural substances in the world. The reason is simple. It takes an enormous quantity of petals to produce even a tiny amount of oil. Depending on the variety and method, it can take anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 pounds of rose petals to produce just 1 pound of essential oil. The petals are harvested at dawn, when their oil content is highest, and immediately distilled using steam. The steam carries the volatile compounds out of the petals, and when it cools and condenses, a thin layer of oil floats on top of the water. That oil is carefully separated, bottled, and sold for staggering prices, sometimes hundreds of dollars per ounce. Despite the cost, rose oil is highly valued in perfumery, aromatherapy, and luxury cosmetics. Its scent is rich, complex, and impossible to fully replicate synthetically. And for those who use it, even a single drop can transform a product or blend. It's a distillation of the rose's essence, a concentration of everything that makes the flower special, captured in liquid form. Roses can absorb heavy metals from soil. Roses are not just beautiful, they're also surprisingly effective at phytoremediation, the process of using plants to remove contaminants from soil. Studies have shown that certain rose varieties can absorb heavy metals like lead, cadmium, and zinc from contaminated soil, storing them in their roots and shoots. This doesn't mean you should plant roses in toxic waste sites and expect them to solve the problem. But it does show that roses, like many plants, play a role in filtering and cleaning their environment. In urban gardens or areas with historical contamination, roses can help reduce the concentration of harmful substances over time, especially if the plants are eventually removed and properly disposed of. It's another layer of the rose's generosity. Not only does it offer beauty, fragrance, and fruit, but it also quietly works to improve the soil it grows in. It takes in what's harmful and holds it, preventing it from spreading. The rose, it seems, is always giving, always working, even when we're not looking. Roses have been found in ancient tombs. Archaeologists excavating ancient Egyptian tombs have found dried roses among the burial goods. These flowers, thousands of years old, were placed alongside the deceased, offerings for the afterlife or symbols of love and remembrance. The petals, though fragile and faded, were still recognizable as roses. In other ancient cultures too, Roses were associated with death and mourning. The Romans placed roses on graves, and the phrase sub rosa, meaning under the rose, referred to confidentiality as secrets shared in trust. Roses marked both celebration and sorrow, life and death, beginning and ending. These ancient roses, preserved in tombs, speak to the flower's enduring significance. Across cultures and millennia, humans have turned to roses in their most meaningful moments. The rose was there at weddings, at births, at farewells. It witnessed joy and grief, and even in death, people wanted roses near them, a final companion for the journey into the unknown. Some roses are nearly thornless, while most roses are armed with prickles. A few varieties are nearly smooth-stemmed. These thornless or nearly thornless roses, like Zephyrin Druhen or Smooth Prince, are prized by gardeners who want the beauty of roses without the hazard of prickles. They're easier to prune, safer for households with children or pets, and more comfortable to handle during planting and maintenance. But even these roses aren't completely defenseless. They may have fewer prickles or very small ones, but they still carry some form of protection. Evolution doesn't easily let go of a successful defense mechanism. And for many gardeners, a rose without thorns feels incomplete, like something essential has been lost. Still, thornless roses have their place. They show that the rose is diverse, adaptable, and willing to meet us halfway. Some roses are wild and fiercely protected. Others are gentle, open, and inviting. And both are valid expressions of what it means to be a rose. Roses can bloom for months with proper care. In ideal conditions, many modern roses are repeat bloomers, producing flowers from late spring all the way through fall. Some varieties, especially floribundas and hybrid teas, can bloom continuously for 6 months or more, pausing only when frost finally forces them into dormancy. This extended blooming period is the result of careful breeding. Gardeners wanted roses that offered more than one brief flush of flowers. They wanted color and fragrance all season long, and through decades of selection, they achieved it. But this generosity comes at a cost. Repeat blooming roses require more care, regular feeding, watering, deadheading, and pruning to keep them healthy and productive. For those willing to put in the effort, the reward is substantial. A garden filled with roses in June, July, August, and September. A continuous parade of blooms, each one opening and fading in its own time, but always replaced by another. It's a kind of abundance that feels almost magical. A reminder that with care and attention, beauty can be sustained, not just glimpsed and lost. Rose petals were once used as currency in ancient Rome. Roses were so highly valued that they were sometimes used as a form of currency or barter. Rose petals were traded, sold in markets, and even given as tribute or payment. During festivals and celebrations, the demand for roses was so high that they were imported from Egypt and other regions, shipped in vast quantities to satisfy the Roman appetite for luxury. Wealthy Romans spent fortunes on roses. They used them to decorate banquet halls, fill fountains and carpet floors. The phrase "living under roses" referred to a life of extravagance and pleasure. Roses weren't just flowers. They were status symbols, expressions of wealth and power. This obsession eventually contributed to economic strain. Some historians suggest that the Roman elite's excessive spending on roses and other luxuries weakened the empire's economy. Whether or not that's true, it's clear that roses held immense value, not just aesthetic but monetary. A flower that could be traded like gold, coveted like jewels, and hoarded like treasure. Roses can be dried and preserved for years. Fresh roses are beautiful, but fleeting. Within days, the petals begin to wilt and fall, but roses can be preserved, allowing their beauty to last much longer. Drying is one of the oldest methods. Roses are hung upside down in a dark, dry place, and over a week or two, they lose their moisture while retaining their shape and color. Dried roses are more muted in color, softer in texture, but they carry a delicate, papery beauty. They're often used in potpourri, sachets, or decorative arrangements. Some people press rose petals in books, flattening them into fragile, translucent sheets that can be used in crafts or kept as mementos. Other preservation methods include freeze drying, which maintains more of the rose's original appearance, or dipping blooms in wax or resin. Each technique has its own aesthetic, its own way of stopping time. A preserved rose is no longer alive, but it's also not entirely gone. It lingers, a memory made tangible, a moment held in petals. The rose is a symbol in many religions. Roses appear in religious symbolism across cultures and faiths. In Christianity, the rose is often associated with the Virgin Mary, sometimes called the mystical rose. Rose windows in Gothic cathedrals, with their circular, petal-like patterns, echo this connection. The rose also represents martyrdom, divine love, and the blood of Christ. In Islam, the rose is linked to paradise and the beauty of creation. It's said that the rose was created from the sweat of the Prophet Muhammad as he ascended to heaven, though this is more poetic tradition than doctrine. In Sufism, the rose is a symbol of spiritual unfolding, the soul opening toward the divine. In Buddhism and Hinduism, though the lotus is more prominent, roses still appear in art and offerings. They represent purity, devotion, and the transient nature of life. Across religions, the rose carries weight. It's not just a flower, but a bridge between the earthly and the sacred, the physical and the spiritual. Roses attract beneficial insects to gardens. While roses do attract some pests, they also draw beneficial insects that help keep gardens healthy. Bees, of course, are frequent visitors, pollinating roses and other plants. Hoverflies, lacewings, and ladybugs are also attracted to roses, and these insects prey on aphids and other pests that might otherwise damage the garden. Planting roses can actually improve the overall health of a garden ecosystem. They provide nectar, pollen, and shelter, supporting a diverse community of insects. And when beneficial predators are present, they naturally control pest populations, reducing the need for chemical interventions. This is part of the broader wisdom of companion planting, understanding that gardens are communities, not just collections of individual plants. Roses, with their long blooming season and attractive flowers, serve as anchor plants, drawing life and activity into the garden. They're not just ornamental, they're ecological contributors, supporting the web of life that makes a garden thrive. A single rose can produce up to 1 million pollen grains. A rose flower, especially one with many stamens, can produce an astonishing amount of pollen. Each anther, the pollen-producing part of the stamen, releases thousands of tiny grains. Multiply that by dozens of stamens, and a single bloom can generate hundreds of thousands, even 1 million pollen grains. This abundance isn't wasteful. it's strategic. Most of that pollen will never reach another flower. It will be blown away by wind, washed off by rain, or eaten by insects. Only a small fraction will successfully pollinate another rose. So the plant overproduces, casting its genetic material widely in hopes that some will find its mark. For bees and other pollinators, this abundance is a feast. They gather pollen on their bodies, carrying it from flower to flower, facilitating reproduction while feeding themselves. It's a partnership, ancient and essential. The rose offers pollen, the bee offers transport, and together they ensure that roses continue, generation after generation. Roses have inspired the creation of rose gardens worldwide. Rose gardens are found in almost every major city and many smaller towns. These dedicated spaces celebrate roses in all their diversity, displaying hundreds or even thousands of varieties in carefully designed landscapes. Some rose gardens are formal, with geometric beds and manicured paths. Others are wild and romantic, with roses cascading over arbors and spilling onto lawns. Famous rose gardens include the Roseraie du Val-de-Marne in France, the Portland Rose Garden in Oregon, and the Rose Garden at the Alhambra in Spain. These gardens are living museums, preserving old varieties and showcasing new ones. They're places of beauty, education, and inspiration, drawing visitors from around the world. Walking through a rose garden, especially at peak bloom, is an immersive experience. The fragrance, the color, the sheer abundance of flowers, it can be overwhelming in the best way. It's a reminder of what humans can create when they care deeply about something, when they dedicate time, space, and resources to beauty for its own sake. Rose gardens are gifts, public spaces where anyone can come and, for a moment, be surrounded by roses. Roses can live through neglect and still bloom. One of the most remarkable things about roses is their resilience. Even when neglected, abandoned, or forgotten, many roses persist. Old farmsteads and abandoned gardens often have roses still blooming decades after the last gardener left. These survivor roses, sometimes called found roses, grow without pruning, fertilizing, or watering. They've gone feral in a sense, but they endure. These roses are usually older varieties or species roses, types that were bred or evolved for toughness rather than perfection. They have deep roots, disease resistance, and the ability to fend for themselves. They bloom every year, not as prolifically as pampered garden roses, but they bloom nonetheless. There's something deeply moving about a forgotten rose still flowering. It's a testament to the plant's will to survive, to its independence. It doesn't need us, not really. We've shaped roses, yes, but they were here long before we arrived. And given half a chance, they'll outlast us, blooming quietly, year after year, in places where no one is watching. The rose reminds us to slow down and notice beauty. In our busy lives, it's easy to rush past flowers without really seeing them. But the rose invites us to pause. Its fragrance stops us in our tracks. Its colors draw the eye. Its intricate structure, layers of petals spiraling inward, rewards close attention. The rose asks for a moment of our time, and in return, it offers beauty, freely and without condition. This is part of why roses have remained so beloved. They're not just pretty, they're present. They exist in the moment, blooming fully, holding nothing back. And when we stop to notice, to really look and smell and appreciate, something shifts inside us. The world slows down, the noise fades, and for just a moment, We're here, fully here, standing in front of a rose. It's a small act, this noticing, but it's also profound, because in a world that constantly demands our attention, pulls us in 1,000 directions, the rose offers stillness. It offers a reason to stop, to breathe, to remember that beauty exists, simple and quiet and real, and that alone is a gift worth receiving. And now, as the last petal of our journey falls softly into place, let yourself rest. We've wandered through time and across continents, through gardens wild and cultivated, through history, science and symbol. We've learned that roses are ancient and adaptable, fragrant and thorned, generous and resilient. We've seen that they've shaped cultures, inspired art, healed bodies and fed souls. But more than anything, we've been reminded of something simple, that beauty matters, that nature holds wonders we've only begun to understand, and that even the most familiar flower, one we've seen 1,000 times, can still surprise us, still teach us, still offer us something new. So as you drift towards sleep, carry these thoughts with you gently. Let them settle like petals on still water. Remember the rose in the cathedral that survived bombs and centuries. Remember the roses that bloom in winter. Remember the fragrance strongest at dawn, the thorns that protect, and the hips that nourish. Remember that you too are part of this world, made of the same elements, shaped by the same forces, blooming in your own time and your own way. And just like the rose, you have something to offer, your own beauty, your own fragrance, your own quiet contribution to the garden of life. If you'd like more peaceful journeys like this one, consider subscribing. There's so many more wonders to explore, so many more stories waiting to be told, softly, gently, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, let your mind rest. Let your body sink deeper into comfort. Let the world fade into softness and shadow. And may your dreams tonight be as gentle as rose petals, as sweet as their fragrance, and as timeless as the flower itself. Good night. And thank you for spending this time with roses, with nature, and with wonder. Sleep well.